This is John Bailey, the epic voice of Honest Trailers, and you're listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. It's a Fangirls podcast with five-ish people. The tangents and squee will continue. Squee.
The tangents and squee continue all the way to episode 200 of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Sound the party alarm and do those horns.
I'm doing my jazz hands. I don't have any noise maker.
Yeah. Oh my. That's a big number. So, welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us. Let's start off like we do every week. We're on the virtual table and see who joined us this week.
This is Brittany in Bethlehem. This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City. This is Sally from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello everybody. We're back.
We're back.
What? So.
And we at 200 episodes, we don't look a day over 50.
That's the nice thing about podcasting. Nobody knows what we look like unless we tell them or show them.
But hey guys, welcome to episode 200.
Woohoo! Wow.
We did it!
We did it! Hey! So, and we, of course, could not have an Epiversary without a special guest, and I guess representing the guys that the whole reason we're at 200 episodes is their fault.
Yes!
And we mean that in the nicest way possible, but it's still their fault. From
blame, credit,
yes.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, but joining us from traveling the Vortex and Flicks with Friends and 5 bazillion other projects that he likes to do, Shaun!
I just imagine you doing the Kermit flail while you do that.
I totally did the Kermit flail.
Yeah.
And boy, are my arms tired. Hello, ladies.
Hello!
Hello! It's good to have you, dear friend.
It's good to be had. First of all, thank you very much for having me on this show. And congratulations. 200 is a pretty darn big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
And I know that we are exceedingly happy for you and somewhat apologetic to all of your listeners that we unleashed you on them. So,
well, given the support that we have gotten, maybe they'll be thanking you. I don't know.
We'll leave that up to the individual. So
yeah.
we'll talk more about us and the madness that has been 200 episodes and all that fun stuff after we do the news. So, all things considering, since we've been off for 2 weeks, the news has not really been that excessive. So, there's that. So, let's jump straight into it. First up with some convention-related news. The Women in Podcasting Festival, which is coming up in early October, which I will be there, they're working very diligently behind the scenes on things, and tickets are on sale. So, like I said, you'll get the tickets cheaper if you buy them ahead of time as opposed to at the door, and then it is a smaller venue. So if you buy your ticket now, you guarantee you can get in the door. So that's always a good thing. But they do have a schedule, so you can go to the Facebook page for that. And see the schedule, but right now, I are going to do our live podcast thing at 11:30 a.m. and that is Chicago time. So remember your time zones. Although I think most of the people are coming from Chicago or very nearby, so shouldn't be that big a deal. And of course, if anything changes, we will post that. They will post it, and then we will post it. So. And I don't know exactly what I'm going to talk about yet.
Oh, this should be good.
I've got
draw names out of a hat.
I've got some ideas. Well, I only got 25 minutes. So,
okay.
Which, for us, that's like nothing. That's our introduction.
That's doing the news.
Yeah, that is doing the news. So I've got a few ideas. I just need to narrow it down. So I need to start flushing out those ideas and see which one I like best. So I've got a little bit of time, slightly under 3 weeks. So I say that now. Next thing I know, it'll be October and I'll be like, oh my God. But for now, I'm going with the I've got time approach.
It's still only September?
Yes.
17th.
Yes.
Yes.
Got a little time, so.
It's fall in less than a week, guys.
I know. Not that you know it outside, but anyway. Yeah.
So, and next bit of news is one I'm excited about. I've got my FanX recap coming later in the show after the news, but there is some news on Salt Lake FanX. Is they're going to have it in the spring again. They announced the dates for next spring. It's April 19th through 20th, so it's only 2 days. But the spring FanX Comic-Con thing, whatever, was always a bit smaller, and the last spring one that they had was only 2 days. So I'm like, and we went to that, and I kind of like the 2 day format. Makes it a little more compact, I guess. You don't waste a lot of time on things. I mean, I don't know. I like it. I don't want to do it all the time, but I'm excited, and that's also Jared's birthday. so when we found out the dates, and I told him, I was like, well, happy birthday. We're going to FanX. So, and they will be doing their loyalty launch where you get tickets for pretty cheap compared to buying them closer to the event. So, watch out for that if you're local or planning on coming. Because, we had a really good time, which I will talk about when we get to that point. And, so yay, FanX in the spring again. Happy.
Yay. And then Indiana Toy Comic Expo has announced their date for next year. They are sticking with the 1 day for now. I know I'd talking about them potentially moving to 2 days, but for right now they're going to stick with 1 day. Unfortunately, they do need to move dates because of larger, not Indiana-owned run conventions that are decided that they needed to take over that weekend and potentially steal away folks. So next year's event is going to be October 6th. So mark your calendars, which that's still a different weekend than the Indie Disney Meet, so I will not have to worry about the driving all over Hell's Half Acre next year, which is good. So I got that going for me. So, and yeah, Billy's not very too keen on the fact that it has to move just because that particular weekend has personal reasons that why the event's always been that weekend. But at the same time, he is a smart man and knows that bigger events are going to potentially draw people away just because of the sheer size and the celebrity guests and blah, all the stuff that goes with that. So better than to fight the behemoth. He is taking one and running with a new date and going with a more spooky theme next year. So
And who doesn't love Halloween?
Exactly.
I mean, come on.
Exactly. So.
Like Zoink Scoob, it's our absolute favorite.
Yep. So there's that. And let's move on to a little bit. This is real housekeeping. I'll move that to the end when we do the other housekeeping. But we got a new trailer that dropped today for Mary Poppins Returns. So get a much better look at what it's going to look like and what it's going to sound like. It looks amazing.
I know. Like when they first announced, like, oh, they're it's a sequel to Mary Poppins. I'm like, do you guys realize how long Mary Poppins has been out? And I don't know. I was a wee bit skeptical.
I think I was really against it when I first heard about it, but I've grown.
Yeah, watching it, I'm kind of like, okay, they're embracing the whole. Yeah, she's coming back to help. Well, now like Michael Banks is now the grumpy dad. So I'm like, it's going to be interesting how they handle that. Although I was really surprised to see it was Ben Whishaw that was doing it, because I loved him in Paddington, and I'm like, his voice was great there. So I'm like, okay, I'm actually going to see him acting in a role with his face and everything there instead of just his voice. So yeah, I think it looked really good, and so I'm actually looking forward to this one.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually, I don't know why it surprised me, but when they get to the part where they show us some of the live action mixed with animation, and I don't know why it surprised me that they were still going to go with live action mixed with animation, just like the original Mary Poppins.
Maybe it's because we're used to like everything being CGI or stuff like that. So like lately, that's not something that they do quite so much anymore. But I liked it, although their outfits are a little interesting.
Yeah.
very, very colorful, but maybe it'll fit the bit with
the costuming
has
definitely. I don't know how much time has supposedly passed since the first Mary Poppins, but like the first Mary Poppins takes place in like 1910, so this is 20 something years later. So the clothing styles are going to change. Somewhat.
Well, I mean the ones during the live action and animated sequence. It was the colors that I was like, because like Lin-Manuel Miranda was wearing something that's like green and pink and blue and all the colors, and I'm like, okay.
Yep. But I'll take it. It looks exciting.
Yeah.
We got a little bit of music, just a little bit, and a little bit of dancing. Brief look at Dick Van Dyke.
Yes.
So.
Although, and I can't explain why this is, but when I heard Angela Lansbury's voice, I almost started crying. I don't know why. I just was really happy to see her in a movie, because it feels like I haven't seen her in anything for a really long time.
Yeah.
And I just got really excited for her. I don't even know who she's playing yet.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
No, it really doesn't.
Not at all.
She's there. I don't care.
But let's be honest. This is Disney tapping directly into our reptile brain and saying, "Look, nostalgia," and we're going to give them all the money and say, "Okay."
Yes. Yes.
I was very much against this when they first announced, "Oh, we're doing a sequel." I was like, that toxic fan group, angry. No, you can't do that. It's Mary Poppins. It's a classic, and just really, really upset. And then I saw the first trailer and went, okay. Mm-hmm. I kind of felt the same way I did about Christopher Robin when they showed Pooh Bear in the trailer and he spoke, and it was Jim Cummings. I was like, okay.
Jim Cummings. Yeah. And I feel terrible. I still haven't gotten to the movie theater to see it.
Oh, I saw it. It's so good.
I want to. I wanted to go see it the weekend it came out, and for some reason we couldn't. And There's just always something going on that keeps us from the movie theater.
I saw it on my cruise, and it was yeah.
I know. I'm like, I need to go see this. I even have a gift card. I could take it to the movies. It's just I need a movie night.
Yeah. Mama needs a night out.
Yeah, it's like Alex, you can go hang out with your grandparents for a while. Not that you don't already, but
yes. Oh, and we don't normally talk about rumors, but this seems to be pretty substantial. But as things go, we tend, sometimes we tend to record and stuff drops the following day. Stuff gets announced the day after. So supposedly tomorrow morning on Good Morning America, we're going to get our first look at Captain Marvel. So
yeah, I don't think that's so much of a rumor. I think that's pretty well set in stone. It's going to happen. So
Larson's going to be
look for that trailer, and we'll discuss it next week.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
It's like, we would finally get the Captain Marvel trailer the day after we record.
That's the way of things.
Oh, yes. It is. So. At least it didn't drop while I was on my cruise and didn't have the internet. So then I would have been really, really mad. Oh, my. Oh. All right. So let's move on to some awards.
I'm sorry, I have one other piece of news.
Oh, yes.
Just by happenstance, I don't know if you ladies were aware of this, but today happens to be the 40th anniversary of the original Battlestar Galactica.
Ooh, cool.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So, there you go.
I have actually seen parts of that. Jared is working to rectify some of the gaps in my thing, but I actually did see that some of it several years ago, and you know what? It's all right.
It's goofy 70s sci-fi, so you kind of have to take that with a grain of salt.
I don't know why.
I love it. I really enjoy it.
I don't know why I always equate Battlestar Galactica. I can't speak. Battlestar Galactica as something newer than that. Whenever I think of it, I always think it's something from like the late 80s, early 90s.
Well, there was a reboot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of is the...
You're probably thinking of Galactica 1980, but we don't talk about that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Shaun, when you say, we have to remember it's 1970s cheesy sci-fi, we're all Doctor Who fans. We know we realize that things are products of their time, and we can still enjoy it.
Very much so. And I love the remake. I love the reboot, but it almost, because it's so dark and gritty and serious, that the whole time we were watching it, I kind of found myself longing for just a little bit of cheese, just a little bit of tongue-in-cheek camp. Mm-hmm. And of course, you don't get that in the reboot. So I immediately went and bought the box set and had to bone up on years of the Battlestar.
And here's my thing. Like, I tried to watch the reboot, and I was so bored in the first episode, which I guess is the TV movie version or something. I guess the big, long 4 episodes smashed into one, so that might be why. But I think I've honestly seen more of the original than I have of the reboot that everybody knows and loves and touts its praises. And I'm like, I'll give it another shot. I'm like, I just don't see it.
I tell you, the reboot is 2 seasons of awesome. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it went 4, but
some shows I think it kind of petered out.
Yeah. It kind of petered out. I think a large part of that was a Sci-Fi Channel saying, "Well, we'd really like another season because it's such a huge hit," and they extended that out.
And they're like, "Well, we're out of ideas, so throw a dart at a board or something."
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But happy anniversary to it as well.
Happy anniversary.
You're trying to goad me into singing. I'm not going to do it.
He's calling us.
I was gonna sing it, but
I know your tricks.
Happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary. There, I did it.
Woo! So, all right. Moving on to some awards, because we love those when stuff we care about gets nominated. So,
yes, indeed.
yeah, so locally, Nouveau, which is a hometown newspaper / magazine here in Indianapolis, is doing their best of indie. This is something they've been doing for as long as I can remember. So the Indie Star thing was new, which, again, the Indie Star best of that we were pushing people to vote for things. They're announcing their winners tomorrow. So, again, we'll talk about that next week. But Nouveau is doing their best of indie. Voting is up. You can vote once a day through the end of the month. Just a few. They don't do nearly the extensive categories. They tend to stick with like restaurants and bars and things. But favorites or best local film festival, Shocktober in Irvington. Go vote for them. Best overall artist / band, the Shakeups, are nominated, and he did not push for this. In fact, he told people, don't, it's like, if you want to nominate me, go ahead, but he's like, I'm not going to push it. It's like, I don't care. But best local Twitter feed, once again, Indiana Geeking, Tony has been nominated. So, and he's won second place like the last 2 or 3 years. So,
well, he needs to win first place. I mean,
he needs to win, and then he can be like, I won, and move on. So
there you go.
There's that. So go vote for those folks. And once again, you do not have to be from Indianapolis or live near Indianapolis. You just need an email address to vote. So, all right. In broader awards, the EA's People's Choice Awards. So people get to vote, EA. So which means stuff we actually care about gets nominated. Their nominations are out for their best of 2018. You can go and vote online for those, and there are plenty of things nominated that we actually care about, including movie of 2018, Infinity War, Black Panther, Deadpool 2, Incredibles 2, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, Ocean's 8, Ready Player One, Solo, A Star Wars Story, action movie of 2018, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Infinity War, Black Panther, Deadpool 2, Fallen Kingdom, Ocean's 8, Ready Player One, Solo, family movie of 2018, Christopher Robin, Incredibles 2, Paddington 2, drama movie star, Chris Hemsworth, Ewan McGregor, male movie star, Chadwick Boseman, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pratt, Michael B. Jordan, Paul Rudd, Pierce Brosnan, Robert Downey Jr., and Ryan Reynolds. Female movie star, Anne Hathaway, Bryce Dallas Howard, Evangeline Lilly, Lily James, Sandra Bullock, Scarlett Johansson. Action movie star, Chadwick Boseman, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pratt, Denai Guerrera, Donald Glover, Evangeline Lilly, Michael B. Jordan, Ryan Reynolds, Scarlett Johansson. TV show, kind of slacking a little in stuff. Show of 2018, The Good Doctor, which I know Brittany watches. Drama show of 2018, The Good Doctor. Revival show of 2018, The X-Files, which, sorry, no. I know we talked about it, but no. Male TV star, Freddie Highmore for The Good Doctor. Drama TV star, Freddie Highmore for The Good Doctor. Sci-fi / fantasy show 2018, Arrow, Black Lightning, Cloak and Dagger, Doctor Who, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Once Upon a Time, Supergirl, and Supernatural.
Lovely.
So
a lot of good choices.
So go flip a coin or a number and go vote for whichever one you think.
Or there might be a sci-fi cage match.
Yeah.
Is this one?
Yeah.
Is this one we can vote more than once?
think so. I think you can vote once a day. And in their case, actually, with all, because there's like 12 nominees in like each category. So I only rattled off the ones that are things that we actually have talked about and talk about. But they also have a blank space where you can actually do write-ins. So...
As a local politician here once said, vote early, vote often.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, and then these awards will be announced on November 11th. So,
Fun times.
yeah. We love People's Choice type awards because then they actually listen to the people and it's not a bunch of Hollywood butt kissing. Although sometimes it makes it harder because some of these categories I'm like,
Yeah, like, I know. It's like you actually pick stuff I like, and I get to pick.
Yeah.
All right, so I know that not everybody on that side of the screen is a huge Oscar fan.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know where you guys came down on Oscar is going to have a most popular award,
And
which
then-
has since been
And then
back.
since been taken away.
I was like, it's about
It
time.
feels like okay. So you remember when the DC when DC was trying to do their whole Justice League team up thing, and it kind of fizzled out because it felt like too little, too late.
Uh-huh.
I don't like that.
Good, I'm in the same boat.
I was like, yay, but
there's other award shows now. Okay, yeah, we dog on the Oscars just because boring. They don't feel like things we like get nominated. And Shaun, I understand you're a film guy. You're into that, and that's cool. I feel like there are award shows that do this thing better, like the People's Choice, like Teen Choice, like I don't know. There's a lot of them that do it better. It's like Oscars, you guys are good at what you do. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but maybe the popular. I think giving it the term popular category kind of feels like a slap in the face.
I agree.
To some of these movies, especially, it's not quite to the level of, they created a category for animated movies, so animated movies are never going to, again, be nominated for Best Picture. So I don't know.
It's very much
it didn't.
Yes, I'm an Oscar fan. I love the pomp and the pageantry and the, in a weird way, the elitism that the Oscars have. And for the most part, I think they do a fairly decent job of pointing out things that are worth seeing. Whether or not it's going to be popular or it's going to make money or not,
right.
they do at least say, hey, this was a good film. Mm-hmm. Now, having said that, I 100% agree with you that just about every other award show out there does it better. They're more entertaining, they're more fun to watch. They have their pulse, their hands much closer to the pulse of what the country is thinking. And they're not afraid to award good movies a prize just because, and I think that's where I don't want to see Oscar cater to that because, like you said, it's demeaning. I'd rather they just restructure things. They really kind of need to go in with a complete revamp and just acknowledge that, hey, Black Panther made a boatload of money. It's extremely popular. But you know what? It was also a damn good movie. It was solidly made. It was well acted. It was well directed. Let's just acknowledge that craft. Just because it's fantasy or, just because it's popular doesn't mean that you can't embrace that.
Yeah.
And I've seen little glimpses of it over the last couple of years with things like, Mad Max Fury Road won 5 awards. They were all on the technical end, but it did win. It was represented. So it's like, well, maybe there's some hope there. But then I also see things like, hey, you're allowed to nominate 10 films for Best Picture every year. Okay, how many did we get last year? 9? Really? You couldn't have found one more to throw in there that would have been something popular?
Well, and it is, you did mention, like, the elitism, kind of the snobbery of it. Like, it feels like the Academy or, whoever, if they were to nominate Black Panther, for example, they'd be like, "Oh, that's a comic book movie," you know.
Yeah, and I think
they can't stand the thought of Marvel or something like that being nominated, and it's just it's.
I think they have. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, they have their niche and they know what it is, and it's not my thing, but you know what? And I kind of make fun of it because when Oscar time comes around, dude.
Yeah, I mean, even as a fan, I can say that it is deserved. I think it was Jon Stewart. I don't remember for sure who said this, but somebody said that the problem with Hollywood in general is that every studio is full of executives who are all trying to make the next Schindler's List, but they spend their days greenlighting Speed 2 Cruise Control. And that's kind of the reality of it is, you put bread and butter on the table, you're going to go make hey, this was popular 10 years ago, let's remake it.
Yeah, but let's go make something that's going to be a guaranteed put butts in the seats and get the cash.
Betcha.
And then at the end of the year, oh wait, we got to have the super snobby thing, for the Oscar bait for next year. I mean, I'm sure you've seen the video of this is the trailer for every Oscar movie ever made.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's so spot on.
Yeah, it's great and it's funny because it's true.
It's completely fictional, but you're watching it going, I think I've seen this movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm glad to know that I wasn't the only one who thought, wow, that's a terrible idea.
Yeah, it's like Oscars, just don't. I mean, the elitism stinks enough. All these snobs trying to pander to the everyman, it ain't gonna fly. Just don't.
Pandering, that's a good way of putting it.
Your ratings haven't been too good in the past couple of years. You're going to try that to get more eyes on the screen, but
Yeah.
Anyway,
We'll stick with the
I'm
People's
sorry,
Choice
I was done.
no, that was a good discussion. I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to hijack the podcast.
No, it's fine. I mean, we invited you on here to help us celebrate, so. It's not, and sometimes when we do kind of have our digs at the Oscars, I do kind of wonder what you guys think of it, because I know you guys are big fans of it, and you do your Oscar watch parties and stuff like that. And I'm just like, it's like, yeah, guys, we know you love it, we love you, but on this we diverge. Mm-hmm.
Well, and it's not uncommon. I mean, yes, we all get together and we sit around and watch, but it's not uncommon for us to boo the screen and throw popcorn because they're wrong.
Yeah.
Cue the Nick Fury. You made a stupid decision.
Yeah, exactly.
I choose to ignore it. Yeah.
The number of you're going to tell me that Val Kilmer didn't deserve to be nominated for Best Supporting Actor for Tombstone when he played Doc Holliday?
Yeah.
You're going to tell me Ed Harris, who is one of the most amazing actors on the face of the planet, and when he's screaming at Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio in The Abyss, God damn it, you bitch, you never backed away from anything in your life, now fight, and he's just losing his voice because he's so passionate about trying to revive this dead woman, that wasn't Oscar-worthy?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Pardon my French.
We'll allow it.
So yeah, we do a lot of screaming as well.
Yeah. Oh my. All right. Well, moving on to. I guess it's never too early to start thinking about Christmas. So Funko.
not according to all the stores.
Yeah, really. But Funko is going to release a couple of lines of holiday-themed figures. They're all Marvel. There's going to be the Marvel Holiday Pop line, which is going to include Deadpool with candy canes, Spider-Man with an ugly sweater, the Hulk crushing a stocking, and a Groot Christmas tree, which is so adorable. And then the pint-sized heroes line is going to include Evil Sweater Thanos, Rocket on a Sled, Christmas Tree Groot, Ugly Sweater Spider-Man, Snowman America, and Squirrel Girl with a stocking.
Snowman America.
Yes.
Oh, I think those are happy noises my wallet's making.
Yeah. Well, anytime you involve Groot.
Yes.
Well, yes.
Speaking
of making money and the cash cow.
Yeah. My heart grows 3 sizes and my wallet cries anytime I see something with Groot. So
Yep.
I was very fortunate that there was not a lot of Marvel stuff involved on my cruise. So otherwise I would have been in trouble.
Groot's kind of like our Fez.
Yeah.
You can't walk by a Groot without stopping and looking and possibly buying.
Yep.
Yeah.
And squealing and going, oh my god, he's so cute. So, sticking with I guess Disney family related things on ABC. So this is on ABC. Dancing with the Stars, which for some reason is still around, but they just announced their celebrity and dancer team ups for the upcoming season. I don't know what season they're on. Double digits at least, I'm sure.
Upper 20s.
Yeah, something like
I
that.
think
But if you want somebody to cheer for...
27.
27th. Alrighty then. Well, if you need somebody to cheer for, you can cheer for Luna Lovegood, a.k.a. Avanya Lynch. She is going to be a contestant on the upcoming season of Dancing with the Stars. So.
And for the first time in the history of that show, I feel mildly compelled to tune in.
Yeah, I know.
Yes. I'm like,
I haven't ever watched it, but I have like picked up clips when some people I've liked, been like when Lindsay Sterling was on it last year or the year before. That one I kind of paid attention to.
Yeah.
and then when one of my favorite trappers was on, I watched it.
Yeah.
I think I watched it when I was in high school because I think my dad's girlfriend liked it, and I was just in the room. But
Yeah.
I actually paid attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's always fun at the very least, especially now that they're really embracing the fact that it's on ABC and that it's therefore owned by Disney, is when they do Disney Week.
Yeah,
Now they do a Disney Week where they all do Disney related costumes, and they all pick a Disney piece of music and they dance to it. So it's like, even if you're not a huge fan of Dancing with the Stars, if you love Disney and Disney music, Disney Week is at the very least the week you want to tune in. Mm-hmm. So, because that's always entertaining, and usually Disney characters show up, so you can become a Mouseketeer for at least one night while watching Dancing with the Stars.
Of course.
And continuing with things that Disney owns, Star Wars. So Star Wars Episode 9, which is in production as we speak, they have, sources, Variety announced that Matt Smith is joining the Star Wars universe. And that's all we know.
He's sure making the rounds, it feels like.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, Doctor Who, it's like, okay, what other big franchises can I join? I mean, I guess he was in Terminator for a little while.
Yeah.
The Crown was kind of big. Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, sort of. But yeah, Star Wars, okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that this day and age, if you're a British actor, there's like 2 rites of passage. You must do Shakespeare and Star Wars. So.
And or a Harry Potter film.
And or a Harry Potter.
Yeah, I'm half expecting to hear him that he's going to be one of the next Fantastic Beasts. Yeah.
It's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
Probably.
He'll get there.
There's
like
that
you
Venn
were the Doctor. You can only go.
That Venn diagram.
You can only go up from.
Yeah. Well, there's only 12 actors in Britain anyway, so.
It's true.
It's they got to overlap eventually. So, but no word on whether he's going to be a good guy, bad guy, somewhere in the middle. Depends on whether he's keeping his accent. Really, will be the indicator. If he stays British,
I guess so.
If he stays British, odds are he'll be a bad guy. If he's not, then chances are he could be a good guy. Obviously, there are some exceptions to that rule, but in general, if you're British, you're a bad guy in Star Wars. So,
Yeah.
which is why John Boyega does not use his natural accent. So,
Which
I
is
tell you how
because I think his natural.
so
Can I say how blown my mind was when I realized he wasn't?
yeah.
When I heard him speak with his real accent,
Yeah.
I went, whoa,
Yeah.
really?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. And then I heard his accent. I'm like, oh, I wish they'd let him keep it for the movies. Because it is a lovely accent.
Yeah. But then you can't be a good guy.
Yeah, I know.
And Finn's a good guy. So
That is true. But, so, guess we'll find out what Matt Smith's going to,
yeah.
where his loyalties are going to fall.
They're pulling in some big names into episode 9. I mean, obviously we've got a lot of the returning cast, but with the addition of Matt Smith and crap, brain fart.
And Matt Smith.
Yeah, Matt Smith.
Matt Smith.
No, crap.
You mentioned
I
Matt
know.
Smith.
Doctor Who. Snowmen.
Oh.
Christopher, not Ian McKellen,
No.
Who was
Who
it?
though?
No.
Yeah, it would be. I almost said Christopher Lee. I'm like, no, he passed away.
No.
God. No. It's not
Oh.
Ian Bond.
This is fun.
Yeah.
You should have this, Shaun. You're the.
Oh, I know. I just haven't said it.
Well, but Billy D. Williams is coming
Oh,
back.
yes, Billy D.
Richard
Williams.
Grant.
Yes.
Yes, Richard E. Grant.
Richard E. Grant.
Richard E. Grant. Thank you. Yes.
Yes, Richard E. Grant is also going to be in episode 9, so. I was like, I could see his
fun.
face. I could see his.
So there are 2 doctors in the new Star Wars movie.
Yeah, if you're going to get to
Yes,
the
that is true.
Yeah.
Well, I don't talk about Shock and Doctor, but yeah, anyway.
I allow it.
It's a thing that happened. So, but yeah, so there's going to be some faces in episode 9, so should be a good time.
Yes.
Speaking of Doctor Who, you can now mark your calendars, folks, because we have a release date for Series 11.
When is Easter Saturday?
Yeah.
Now it's Easter Sunday.
Yes.
I guess we'll still call it Easter Saturday.
If I use that joke again.
Yeah.
So I have to use it on yours.
You
Hey,
can use
you
it
know,
here.
I like the Easter Saturday joke. I don't know why Glenn gets all grumpy about that, but
He's a grumpy bear.
Yeah. Well, Sunday, October 7th, Series 11 will be premiering. So, and it's going to be simulcast in the UK and the United States. So,
And then supposedly they are going to re-air it during prime time.
yeah.
I would hope so because I'm not going to be able to watch it live.
Yeah.
Because I'm look.
I'm going to lodge a minor complaint, and this is all because of me and my viewing schedule and TV habits. Because I don't have regular TV. I have no interest in getting regular TV or cable or satellite. I just have streaming and whatever I buy on iTunes. And I watch Doctor Who through the iTunes season pass, and it doesn't show up for me until the next day. So I'm used to watching it on Sunday already. But now they're moving it to Monday, and I'm like, well, okay, to Sunday, so now I have to get it on Monday, and I'm like, why? But again, that's just a me complaining. That doesn't affect anybody else.
Yeah.
Or it might, I don't know. Probably does. But, oh well, I'll just have to adjust.
Yep. Oh. I'm in the same boat, but what are you gonna do?
I know.
It's like I'm not paying for cable or satellite for one TV show.
Yeah, no, I'm not either. I mean, I guess it was kind of the same as when Once Upon a Time moved to Friday, and that was a little better because I could watch it on Saturday.
Yeah.
Whatever.
We actually spent a large chunk of time debating how we were going to handle that, since we normally record Sundays.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you guys about that.
The current plan is that we're actually going to shift our recording days to Monday nights, because we tend to run late anyway, seems like recently.
Yeah.
And we just figured that would give not only us a chance to watch it, but also, you guys, and people can chime in with feedback on the episodes instead of having to rush to their computers and stuff.
Yeah.
We decided we'll just give it another day. So
Yeah.
it's a little weird. But on the bright side, I personally am kind of glad for it from a show standpoint, because it means that Doctor Who stayed away from that really intense ratings competition on Saturday night. So we don't have Strictly Come Dancing and those things to worry about now. It feels a little weird because it's a Saturday night show, but
Yeah. And I
was
wonder
also
if
the guy that said, hey, the X-Files should never be on Sundays. This is a terrible move, Fox. And then it doubled in viewership. So I was like, well, what do I know?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I remember. Well, I don't remember this, but people talk about when back in the 80s when they moved it from Saturday to Monday and Tuesday, and everyone was like, "Wait, what? Really?" So I don't know. This isn't unheard of, but it's still a little. It takes getting used to. We'll say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, Sunday's a far better time slot than Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah, that is true. That is very true.
Yeah. What's good for all of us nerds, while the rest of the universe is in front of their TV watching football. We'll have something to watch.
Hey, some of us are having a very successful sports ball year so far.
Hush. My team is, again, not doing well. Like, why? What's going on?
I have to throw in a plug for my new favorite YouTuber who does sports. The channel name is Urinating Tree. I know. I know, it's really dumb. But every week he does a video, This Week in Sports Ball, and he just mercilessly makes fun of what happened in football. Now, I do have to warn people that he does use some strong language. So don't watch it with the little ones around, but it's as hilarious as all get out. And then throughout the year, he'll also do baseball and hockey and some other things. But yeah, I discovered him last year, and I'm like, you're making football bearable.
Speaking of baseball, did you guys hear about the Alabama? I think it's a minor league team that just started up.
No.
They had a contest to name the team, and as evidenced by the gigantic billboard that went up outside of town, the winner, are you ready for this? They are now the Rocket City Trash Pandas.
I love it.
I want a Rocket City Trash Panda t-shirt.
I'm so ready to jump on a bus and go for a road trip.
I found a reason to get into baseball. I love it.
That's the best.
That's right up there with Bodie McBoatface.
I'm still mad they vetoed that.
I know. It's like if you're gonna vote for something, I mean, let it stand. Good grief.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
worse things are Bodie McBoatface, but anyway, well, and for those people that actually do have cable, for the 12 people that still pay for it, BBC America is going to do a marathon of all of New Who, starting
With
September.
Eccleston.
Yes, including Eccleston, starting September 25th. So,
About time.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I like Tenet, but when they hit the end, I'm just like, come on, guys, can you please start with the first series? Nope, series 2.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Love stories too, but it's kind
Yeah. Well, especially now,
you can't skip 9.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Don't play this.
Yeah. Well,
I
it's
agree with you.
Yeah. Well, it's probably
anyway,
a little
skip 9.
easier on everyone involved now that Eccleston is not. He's embracing his Doctor Who roots a bit more. You know, he's made an appearance at a convention. He filmed a little video for some fans that were getting married. As the Ninth Doctor. He was like, his doctor is very upset that he did not get an invitation.
Maybe just as time passes, he kind of starts going, okay, yeah, because people embrace it more, and maybe his experience wasn't that great at the time, but he definitely has his fans, so
yes,
that's cool.
Yeah,
that is very cool. And there was a picture I saw of him at a convention shaking hands with Matt Smith, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Well, the beauty of they call them platitudes, and they're terrible. But you've all heard "time heals all wounds."
Yes.
And it's unfortunately a platitude because it's true that you have enough water under the bridge eventually, unless you're in the Doctor Who universe, and then you just get more bitter and psychotic.
Yeah.
But I would like to think that as he continues to travel in professional circles, that he keeps encountering people who look back on his time fondly, even if he doesn't. And when he interacts with people from the show, as we've all seen from various conventions, the Doctor Who family is a very strange, tight-knit, but accepting family. That it doesn't matter if you weren't on at the same time. Your eras could have been separated by 30 or 40 years, but you were on Doctor Who, and therefore you're a cousin. And everybody's friends. Everybody knows each other through these conventions. And I would like to, in my headcanon, I like to believe that he's gotten a little taste of that now, and that it's always been favorable from the people in the show to the people who watch the show, and maybe that's helping him warm up a little bit to it.
Yeah, and I agree with you. It's definitely, time goes on, and he's kind of like, okay, yeah, it was, it might not have been great, but it's spawned a lot of really good feelings from other people, fans and fellow cast members.
And it could also be, too, if he's at a convention somewhere signing for something else that's a different role than Doctor Who, and somebody comes up for an autograph, hey, loved you in Doctor Who. Or that's how I found you. And then, okay, so...
And found your other stuff, too. So,
Yeah. We love you, Chris.
We do. We do.
I can't wait to go to a convention and have him sign something for Destro.
Do it. Yeah. Well,
I liked his portrayal of Destro. I thought he was perfect. The movie had issues, but Eccleston was fantastic.
Yeah. Well, kind of on that note, now that news is over.
So
and going from 9 to 10 and conventions, I do have a quick little short FanX recap. It was a little more than a week ago, but we did go, and a certain David Tennant was present, which I'll get into that here in a moment. And I'm glad Jared isn't in the room because he'd start laughing at me.
And you didn't turn into a puddle of goo, so that was good.
Oh, gosh.
Or were you did she? And this is just a clone of her now. Is she a ganger? Is this ganger,
I
Chrissy?
could be a ganger. I don't know. I have no idea. My child might be crying for a fake mother. I don't know. No, I'm kidding. So yeah, we went to FanX. Now it ran 3 days. We had some things come up that we couldn't go on the Thursday, which I was a little annoyed about because there were some panels I wanted to go to that day, but it happens. And so we started Friday, and David Tennant was only going to be there Thursday and Friday. So I was like, okay, that's the first thing we're going to do is go get his autograph. And we found out what time he was signing, and that was, we got everything set up, and we beelined it for where his signing was. And they'd already been signing for an hour because the VIPs got to go in early, and the general admission had to wait an hour, which is fine. We know that going in. And we had Alex in the stroller, and we've got one of those great big ones, which I'm glad we did. I know a lot of people complain about, oh, why do you have that great big stroller in here? Can't you be more courteous? And I'm like, you know what? It carried a lot of our stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of, and it really didn't get in the way so much. So I'm like, I'm fine taking it again. And if people get upset, well, that's their problem. But so I went and stood in line for the autograph while Jared kind of took Alex around to and Alex was amazing. Like, he was just soaking it all in. I could just see him. He looked like, not really it's like a bobblehead, but horizontal. He's like looking this way, looking that way, and shaking his head all the time. He just wants to take it all in, and I'm like
All the colors,
all the people, all the costumes. I mean, he seemed to enjoy it. I mean, he's only a year old, but I'm like, okay, we can do cons as parents. That's awesome. The only thing he really didn't like was standing in lines, which who does?
Yeah.
So I would stand in line, and it was about maybe 45 minutes I was in line, and then there's one line where you wait in line to pay for your autograph, and they send you to another line. And when we were getting close, I texted Jared and said, hey, I'm getting close, come up here. And people were really cool about, him coming in, and, you got a baby. They understand a lot of things. And Alex was doing okay up until, we were getting up to close to the table, and I'm standing there, and I can see David Tennant. I'm, maybe 10, 20 feet away, and I'm trying in my head, okay, what should I say to him that doesn't make me sound crazy? And I kind of have a thing saying, I loved you in Doctor Who, thank you for coming, I'm really happy to meet you, something along those lines. And then we get up there, and there's one person that's getting her autograph signed, and then we're standing there. Alex is starting to get a little fussy, and the woman who was at David Tennant's table, I'm pretty sure she was his handler, or she wasn't a volunteer with the con or anything. She kind of looked down at Alex and was making faces at him and goo-gooing at him, and made him smile, so he kind of calmed down a little bit, which I really appreciated, because I was starting to kind of be a little bit of a wreck, and I didn't want to have to deal with my fussy child, even though Jared was there and was more than willing to, he was definitely stepping in, but it was just kind of nice for someone else to notice and be like,
let me help you.
Yeah, let me help you, and I understand how it is with kids. So anyway, then I get up to David Tennant, and just and he smiles, and he says hello in that Scottish accent, and everything I was going to say just flew out of my brain.
Yep.
It was gone. And I'm like, if you've ever seen A Christmas Story, with when Ralphie gets up to Santa and he's going to ask him, and he's like, "Wake up, stupid!" and I said something. I don't remember what it was, but Jared laughed at me when we walked off. Jared was laughing at me at the moment, and if he was here to give his side of the story, he would probably embarrass me, but in a loving and kind way. And David Tennant, bless his heart, I'm sure he gets this a million times, and when he goes to these conventions, because people, because he's got his fangirls and they all lose it in front of him. He just takes it in stride. And he smiled and was charming and sweet, and I was just like, dumb. And then I left the table and kind of, did my little hop off of the way, like, I met David Tennant. And then later I was like, I was such an idiot. So I'm like, I take consolation in the fact that, yes, I am one of many who have lost it in front of him, and he's probably used to it, so he's never going to remember it. Oh gosh, but no, it was a lot of fun, and he was just wonderful. And if you get to go meet him at a convention, I recommend you do so. Take some forethought of what you're going to say to him.
Try at least.
I'll be like Milan and have something written on my arm,
think before you snack. Act.
Yeah.
I loved you in Dr. Blue? Doctor Who! Yes, that one. I do remember saying, I love you, you're wonderful. And he said, well, I'll take all the praise I can get. And then it was just gush, 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 gush.
Or you'd accidentally get it flipped instead of saying, I'm your biggest fan, you're my biggest fan.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, honestly, if you never, like, embarrassed yourself in front of a celebrity at a convention, you're missing out. But, no, it was
you
really
can't see
great.
me, but I'm raising my hand. I have cried on my doctor, so...
Yeah, there we go. We all have stories.
Yeah.
It's, own it.
Own it.
So anyway, so from there, I mean, that was kind of our big get, or the big thing we wanted to get. There were some books and authors we wanted to go meet. Mercedes Lackey was there, and Jared really wanted to go get her autograph, which we did. We stopped by some of the booths, and there was a booth that was selling some really cool looking dice. Now I wish I remembered who they were, but they were actually a thing where you could roll dice, and if you got certain combinations of results on the dice, and you could possibly win a set of dice. And Jared got a set of gaming dice. I got a coupon for 15% off, so I bought a set of dice. So cool. my dice collection is growing quite a bit. Not nearly as much as Jared has, but a substantial amount. We did. And then we went over to Artist Alley, and Rachel, I know, has talked a lot about when she goes to Artist Alley and it's like crack.
Yes.
Like, that's where her wallet cries. And maybe I just haven't done Artist Alley that much, but this time we did. And I went up and down, and I'm like, I want that one. I want that one. I want that one. And the thing where they get you the most is they'll have a big version of a piece of art, but then they'll have a little postcard size that's like $5, and you think, I can swing $5. That's not a big deal. And, $50 later, yep.
You've got a bag full of postcards.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know that we spent quite that much, but I mean, there were some really good artists that were there this year.
What you posted for what you bought. Oh, I loved your picks. Your choices were awesome.
Yeah. So there was one that was a Sailor Moon one that I wanted to get. There was one artist that had like Star Wars characters in military dress from like the Napoleonic era. Mm-hmm. We got one that was Han Solo, and he's got the gun, he's got the fancy 1800s uniform, and there was a really nice one of Lando with one of those great big fancy hats. I don't know what they're called, but we were down to, do we get Lando or do we get Han Solo? And it was Han Solo, but dang, I wanted that Lando. And then there was one that was he had a lot of Disney art and some anime art, but the one that I saw that I literally squeed when we're standing there in the middle of the aisle is he had a cute little fox dressed as Robin Hood, and I was like, I want that. That's what I want. I need it. And that artist, I can't remember the name now. I know I posted in our chat, but it was. So he'd done a lot of the Robin Hood characters as animals, and I wish they were so cute. So he had a good deal. Like if you buy 3, you get them for. Alex Worthen is the name. Alex Worthen Art is the website. So and on his website he has the little fox Robin Hood that it was just so adorable. But he also had a Prince John as a lion. There was a hiss. There was a rooster as Alan Adale. Then he had some really cute Harry Potter stuff. There was one that was Hedwig. Like he had a setup where he had the Harry Potter art on pages from the books. So like when the characters were introduced, that was where it was. And there was one of Hedwig with a Hogwarts letter that I was like, but at that point I was like, okay, we've spent too much. We need to move on. And then there was one that I'd seen on Friday that was only in the big, the $20, like 11 by like 11 by 20 size. It was an artist who had taken, they had matched a Charizard with a tiefling. If you don't know what a tiefling is, in Dungeons and Dragons, it's one of the races. It's basically a humanoid character, but has horns and a tail. They're kind of like, they're cursed, sort of. They're actually really cool in the game. And I just saw it, and I'm like, that's a tiefling Charizard. And she's got, and I knew it was Charizard because it's got the coloring, but also she has a necklace with a Pokeball on it. And I should probably post pictures of this on the Facebook page, but it was so cool. And I was like, oh, but I probably can't afford it. And she didn't have the postcard side because of the way the dimensions were, it wouldn't work. But then we came back the next day, and Jared was like, do you want that one? I'm like, yes. So that one's hanging up on my wall. I'm looking at it right now, and it is so cool. She looks awesome. So that was another one. We did try to go to one panel, but I will say they were kind of weird about their stroller policy. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine with not having to take the stroller into the panel because, space is a premium. But the only place they had stroller parking was clear down at the other end of the convention center over by the grand ballroom. So we had to hoof it to one end of the building to come back to another panel. And then by the time we got there, Alex was kind of not having it. He didn't want to sit. So I was like, fine, we won't do panels. But other than that, like, we went to KidCon. That was a lot of fun. They had some, like, we went when they were doing the kid cosplay parade. And that was really cute. I didn't get any pictures because Alex wanted to go run around. Like, he saw the Legos and he was like, "I want Legos." So we went and supervising him with the Legos is a full-time job because he wants to take the little ones and shove them in his mouth. But I'm like, no, here. But then I got him interested in the big ones, and he could like, oh, I can put them together. I'm like, yes, that's how this works. And then they had those. They had a display. I don't know if you've seen those little Luke Skywalker land speeders that kids can drive around in. They were just sitting there. You couldn't steer them or anything. They were just there to kind of say like, hey, this is what we have, and here's our website, go spend your money. Yeah. And we just sat Alex in it, and there was a little R2-D2 sitting next to him, and we got pictures, and he was giggling and loved to move the steering wheel, and I'm like, this is so adorable.
The look on his face is just like, yes.
Yes,
I love that picture.
Yes,
I want to send my Christmas list.
I know, and I'm like, can we swing this? The only problem is we don't really have we live in a little apartment, so we don't really have a yard for him to go tool around in it. But I'm like, he needs this. We also got pictures of him in front of there was a TARDIS made out of balloon. Like there's a group that makes like balloon animals on steroids. Like someone made a Belle dress out of balloons, and they made a TARDIS out of balloons. And you can actually go in it. Well, if you were little. So he walked in there and was like, this is the coolest thing ever. So then we went back to the main con floor, and there was there's a local family who has a TARDIS that they sit on their driveway up in a town called Bountiful. It's about like a half hour north of Salt Lake. And people will drive by and like, that's the TARDIS house. And they have all these costumes and sonic screwdrivers, and it's all like this whole big display of a big Dalek that they sit by it. And you could, and it's free. Like and they have props that you can use. So like we put a fez on Alex, and I had a fez, and we took pictures, and their TARDIS, like you walk in it, and it looks like the RTD era TARDIS, and they've got mirrors, so it looks like it's bigger on the inside when you close the door, and you just kind of like spin around, and it looks really neat. And and there's a picture of me and Alex walking in, and I didn't know. And it was on my phone, so it must have been, Jared must have taken the picture, but it's my new Facebook profile picture because it looks so neat of we're walking in, and Alex is like so intent on it, and it was so much fun. And we go to that booth every time we go because it's like we need another TARDIS picture, and every time there's a Doctor Who guest, they get a little a piece of the strip of blue wood, I guess, that goes underneath the police box part. They will have the Doctor Who guests sign that, and they put in a new one every time. So they actually have a display of all the blue planks that have been signed by Doctor Who casts that have come to Salt Lake.
Cool.
Nice.
So they have this big, Karen Gillan was the first one. And so they have a special little, this is the Karen Gillan TARDIS, and they have a special little display with her picture and a picture of the TARDIS in their yard with like a rainbow going over it. And then it has her, has a costume, her policewoman costume from the 11th Hour. It's not the actual one, but it's a one that they put together. So yeah, they're like, they go all out, and they're a great, I guess addition, kind of yes, feature of the con. They come every time, and they're really sweet. And they're like the dad was there, kind of helping us go through the prop box and saying like finding a fez for Alex to wear. It was like on a little headband that he couldn't knock off as easily, but it was cute and it was fun. And then there were just so many good cosplays that we saw. There was a big group. They were all dressed up as Nightmare Before Christmas characters, and I swear they just sat in the lobby the whole time because everybody wanted pictures with them. But because every time we went by, they were there, and people were getting pictures. And so, yeah, the Saturday we just kind of mostly we just people watched and looked for cool costumes and got a lot of pictures. And I was so into it that when we went to lunch, we go to the mall across the street, City Creek. We just go to their food court for lunch, and I know and there's a lot of people from the con going to lunch, coming and going. So a lot of people in cosplay, but there's the normies, I guess, the not we or whatever. But there was a guy going by, and he was carrying 2 vacuums, and I swear my first thought was, I wonder what he's cosplaying. And then I realized, no, wait, he's just buying 2 vacuums. So, yeah, but yeah, it was a lot of fun, and funnily enough, as noisy as it was, Alex actually fell asleep in the stroller several times. So I'm like, yep, he knows how to do a convention. I mean, if I was getting pushed around in a stroller, I'd nap. We had a good time. There were some pretty bad hiccups with the photo ops. We walked by, and there was just a huge mass of people on Friday. I guess they were waiting to get their pictures or something. I found out later that the printer, the photo printer, had gone down. So everybody was backed up, and it caused a big issue. And they did apologize for that. They gave people free digital pictures and a free Saturday pass if they were only there Friday, and a few other things. So you may hear something about that, and I'm just like, because I don't do photo ops. I don't know. It's just not something I'm really into. I know a lot of people look forward to it. And I feel really bad for everybody involved because, when it's something like that, when a printer breaks, that's not something you can really plan for, but it just throws everything off. And I don't know. Tempers ran high. That much I do know, but I think they tried to make it good as much as they possibly could. And I don't know what the answer is, quite honestly. And I feel bad for everybody, volunteers, guests, con goers, the photo op people. I mean, I don't know. That's all I can say about it. I just know it's caused a lot of consternation, but I think they've tried to do as best they can. So that's all. But anyway, and we're gonna go again in April, and it'll be a good time again. I think, pretty sure. And we're actually gonna dress up in April. We're tentatively thinking of doing a Mr. Rogers neighborhood cosplay where Alex is Mr. Rogers, Jared and I do King Friday and Queen Sarah. If we can,
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, we did. There was one Mr. Rogers, but I think he was there on Thursday because we didn't see any. I thought there would be more Mr. Rogers related stuff because of the Won't You Be My Neighbor that's out. But there was one guy who had a sweater and the sneakers and a little toy trolley, and I'm like, okay, we need to get out. But yeah, so that was our fan X and kind of the Cliff Notes version as much as I possibly could.
Yeah.
And I fangirled all over David Tennant. There's my bucket list achievement.
I'm not sitting here insanely jealous.
Oh, well, he's
Just
making
want you
the
to know
rounds. Oh, okay.
I'm not jealous.
Well, this was my Christmas present, so.
I may have squeed a little bit when I saw
That's a
your
good Christmas
announcement that he was coming.
Yeah.
And I kind of looked at Mel and went, Salt Lake's not that far away.
Yeah, there's only one state between us, Shaun.
True.
This happens to be a decent-sized one.
That is true, and the mountains.
I'm on the wrong side of the one that I'm in.
I was gonna say that's something to say with me in Indiana.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that is true. You would have to go all through Kansas and then all through Colorado. Oh, well. I think you're going to get your turn, Shaun. I have a feeling about that.
I think so. I know Planet Comic-Con does not release numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But if the numbers that we and I don't know if I should say this or not, but I'm going to. If the numbers that we kind of hear brandied about a little bit internally are any indication to go off of, I saw somebody had compiled a list of like the top 10 or 20 cons by attendance.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And Planet Comic-Con was like number 4.
That's pretty good.
I was shocked because we've always kind of been off the grid, as it were.
Right.
And it's only been in the last couple of years that it's become what I would kind of term a major minor con.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if those numbers are anywhere near accurate, they're in the top 10 for sure. And it's like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, Salt Lake Comic-Con, FanX, whatever, San Diego can go, whatever. Jeez. But that's another story. But yeah, I mean, if we can get David Tennant and some of these other big names, I don't see why Planet Comic-Con can't. I mean, this is me speculating as having no inside information at all.
You have to have the guest. The attendance numbers have to justify how much money you're going to spend up front for certain celebrities, because I would imagine that David Tennant is not cheap to get.
Oh no, and his autographs. I'll say this: I was kind of shocked about this because they don't post the autograph prices because shenanigans.
Yeah.
Beforehand, but they do post the prices for the photo ops.
Yeah.
And generally speaking, photo ops are autographs are generally either the same amount as photo ops or they're cheaper. Then I found out that David Tennant, his photo op was $100, his autograph was $100, but if you brought something for him to sign, and you not a picture at his, you didn't get a picture at his table, but if you brought something for him to sign, it was $130, which I don't know. I guess I just haven't gotten a lot of autographs, but that was a little odd to me.
That's somewhat unusual that they'll charge different on that, unless it's something like I have seen some of the Power Rangers, and some others where they have something like a helmet or some sort of what you would consider a premium collectible. Sometimes they'll charge more to autograph that, because a lot of times those are the things that get turned around and put on eBay.
Okay, well, maybe I guess that would make sense.
Yeah, but usually it's something like an action figure or a costume piece or something. Usually, if it's something like a poster or something, they don't usually charge more.
I was just like
So
yeah,
but actually, for
the
David,
$30 difference was kind of like really.
Yeah, but considering the prices I've seen for David at other events, that's relatively cheap for him.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that it was $100 because I was like, I was expecting, because I think Matt Smith was. I didn't get Matt Smith when he was here. Because it was like $150 or some astronomical price that was just way out of my grasp at the time, and so I was like, no, thanks guys, but no, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's every guest is different, and
and every convention
they
is
set it
different.
themselves.
So.
Yeah, and every convention's different.
Because some of it, depends on. Some of it depends on the guest. They work with the convention. They tend to set their prices, at least for the autographs.
Yeah.
Photos is a little different, just because the photographer, they've got to cover their costs as far as printing and everything is concerned, because you're actually getting something printed on photo paper. They have all their equipment and everything.
It's immediately there.
Yeah, so that's a little different, but the autographs, it's kind of wild how they can vary from convention to convention, because I think somewhat it's the guest knowing the audience and what they actually can pay versus what they got paid from the convention to come. So it's like if they got paid more up front, then they don't necessarily have to ask more for autographs because they're already walking away with a decent paycheck. So it's a very complicated thing, the conventions. We've had plenty of event organizers on here
it's very I guess inside baseball.
Yeah.
But it's still interesting how it all works, but and good to know sometimes especially if you go to a lot of conventions and you want to plan ahead and be like, I'm going to get this autograph, how much do I need to budget?
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. So
it seems like a good rule of thumb anymore is that for most everybody you plan on about $40.
Yeah.
And obviously the premium guests are going to run more than that. But if you kind of put 40 as your baseline, at least then you're usually not too surprised. Although I've certainly been surprised by a couple.
Yeah, and that's kind of my thing. And I know a lot of people have asked, like, why don't they post the autograph prices beforehand so we can, plan? And I know there's reasons for it, and I don't know what all those are, but it's like, that would be a little easier. But
part of it, honestly, is an ego thing that you have to.
Oh yeah.
If you have multiple stars from the same television show, and one of them is charging 40 and one of them is charging 25, the one that's charging 40 kind of feels like they're being undercut. And the one that's charging 25 is maybe looking at going, oh, maybe I need to be charging more because, am I not as valuable?
Yeah.
I guess.
It leads to a lot of weird, and stars in general have that kind of ego thing.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of it that way. So that actually makes a lot of sense now that you say that.
Yeah.
I guess the Next Gen cast all has they all have their own pricing. But whenever they're together at a con as a group, they all agree ahead of time what they're going to do. And then they stabilize it, and it's the same across the board for everybody. Although I don't know about Patrick Stewart. I'm sure he probably charges a little bit more than $40. But
I'm sure he's one of those premium guests that you gotta budget a little bit more for that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, I'm not carping about. I'm not sitting here carping about the prices and what I had to pay. I fully expected to have to pay a pretty penny for David Tennant. It's just kind of interesting to talk about, like, how this all comes about.
Yeah.
What's your most expensive autograph?
Oh, honestly, it probably would be David Tennant. Now that I think about it, because he might be my only New Who Doctor that I have now, because I do have Arthur Darvill and Jenna Coleman, but I don't think they were quite $100. Jenna Coleman might have been close. She might have been 100, so maybe it was between the two of them.
I would say when I got Jenna was 50 when I got Jenna's, and I think Karen was 50 as well. So,
maybe I'm remembering wrong, because now I'm all of a sudden, like, now I'm doubting myself.
Yeah.
But I feel like Jenna's was pretty expensive, because hers, that year, they did allow prepaid autographs online if the guests, like, wanted to do that. And I remember hers were, so I bought that one before the convention and got a QR code and went and turned that in. So I didn't have to wait in so many lines. for hers, which was a good thing because she had a line, and that was right after she left Doctor Who.
Yeah. See, Jenna was still on Who when I met her, so.
Yeah.
But, yeah. No, I think the most expensive Doctor Who, actually just any autograph, but Doctor Who, I think, was $50, and I think that was Karen and Jenna were both $50. So those were autographs. Most expensive photo op, $100, Stan Lee. Worth every penny, though.
Well, yes. Yeah.
I think that's ours too. We did the combo for an autograph and a photo with Stan, and I think it was somewhere in the 150 to 175 range.
Yeah.
But Mel's the one that justified it, saying, "Well, it's Stan Lee.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you going to do?"
Yeah.
And then we paid $100 for Capaldi, and I think Shatner comes in at number 3 at $80.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Shatner came through, his was like 75, 80.
I was going to say, you got me my autograph for Shatner. I know that.
Yeah,
I was trying to know how much it cost.
Yeah, well, I was happy to do it. And then he came back like 2 or 3 years later, and I was like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Stan Lee was definitely worth every penny, especially now that he does not do conventions anymore. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame him.
Yeah.
It's it was inevitable.
Yep. Anyway, well, I'm glad you had fun, Chrissy, and you did not die. So
I did not die, and really, I will say this: I was nervous about taking a 1-year-old to the convention. I didn't know how he was going to be, if he was going to fuss and cry and always want to eat. Like I think I took more snacks for him than for us, which is fine. But no, he was a doll. He did great, and the only time he really got super fussy was when we were sitting in the panel and I had to take him out early, and when we were stopping talking at the author booth that we have friends there that were running it, and we were just getting talking and chatting with everybody, and it was about lunchtime, and he let us know he was hungry. Yeah. We were like, yeah, we're hungry too, so we went and got burgers and fries, and after that he was happy. Yeah. But no, he loved it. And so I'm like, okay, this bodes well for his future because, dude, you're coming to these cons with us, whether you like it or not.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is...
Like, until you're old enough to be left at home by yourself.
Yeah.
You're coming with us.
But I think Kid Con was, I'm sure other conventions do something similar where there's a big room just for the kids and they have things for them. But that one was a lot of fun, and it was kind of a nice place to sort of decompress for a little bit and just watch the kids enjoy themselves. Yeah. Because there is so much to see, and I'd never done Kid Con before. They've had it for several years, but I'm like, I'm glad they put it where they did. Before it has been in the main vendor hall in the past, but now they've moved it to its own place, and I think that's a good call.
Cool.
So I'm looking forward to when he's older for the things like the obstacle course and the cosplay parade and some of the crafts and things that they had there. Because some of it's like, oh, he's just too little for a lot of this stuff, but even so, he had a good time.
That's good. Cool. All right. Let's move on to some housekeeping. So the poll is up for the October book choices up on Goodreads.
Yes.
So go vote early. You can't vote often. You can only vote once.
You can change your vote.
Yeah. So you can vote now, and then if you change your mind, you have time to change it. How's that?
Yeah. Yep.
Yay! So, and then I posted this on Facebook, and it's been posted on Twitter and Instagram too. But I finally made my first and hopefully not last appearance on Cult Cinema Cavalcade. I may have broken Brandon and Cullen, and they may not invite me back, but I kind of threw a tough one at them. So Although I think it was a nice change of pace compared to the movies they have been reviewing recently. They've been doing like a lot of horror and like gross comedy, and it's a PG movie. There's no cursing, there's no violence, there's no real like adult things. So it's really just a bunch of people talking for an hour. With Italian gangster accents.
Yes. I know which movie you're talking about.
If you have not seen the gem that is the 1991 comedy starring Sylvester Stallone called Oscar.
As snaps provolone.
Do yourself a favor and watch it, and you can thank me later.
I'm not gonna lie.
And the brilliance of Tim Curry.
Yes. Which is the whole reason I came across the movie in the first place, is because of my friend Jeanette and I's mutual love for Tim Curry. She introduced me to it way back in the day, and she's like, "Oh my God, how have you not seen this? It's got Tim Curry in it." And ever since, though, it's bad. It's really bad. I mean, it's Sylvester Stallone trying to do comedy. If that just doesn't scream red flag.
It's better than Rhinestone.
Yeah.
I've seen Rhinestone.
Well, I've never seen Rhinestone, but I'll take your word for it. So. But.
Like, I didn't know this movie existed until, like, I started seeing the post for the podcast episode.
Yeah.
And, like, I was saying, it's a comedy, but wait, is that who's starring that way? It can't possibly be. What? I'm so confused.
That's Sylvester Stallone.
I'm so confused. Like, when does he do comedy?
He doesn't. This is why.
First and only
Once.
attempt. One and done.
Well, no, he did. He did
so
stop
enjoy
and
it
almost
while
shoot,
it's there.
So, yeah. So.
Yeah, in fairness, Oscar, I remember I went to see Oscar in the theater, so dating myself a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's not a horrible movie.
No,
It's not.
It's really pretty good, but it definitely has some tonal issues.
Yeah.
Probably the most polite way to put it.
Yeah.
That and the very stereotypical screaming Italian women that were worked in very quickly. But,
I mean, take every gangster Italian mobster New York, Prohibition era stereotype, and it's in there.
That actually has me really intrigued.
Yes. So, and there's a lot of recognizable faces in this movie too, which is hilarious in itself. It's like the studio or something was like, well, we've got all these people and they're under contract. Let's see what we can do. So I really would be interested to see this actually done as a stage play, the way it's actually, I think, intended to be performed. I think it
would be a wonderful farce.
Yes, I think it would make.
Yeah.
I think so. If somebody could adapt it for the stage, it would probably come off a lot better. So, but I love it. I had a blast recording with the guys. They, if you've ever listened to Cult Cinema Cavalcade, their introduction is pretty straightforward, just like ours. It's pretty much the same every time. Where, they talk about what, they say what they're going to talk about, then they do their introduction, and they do, a synopsis of the film and run through the cast and the director and written by and all that. And just from talking to them before we actually started recording and them going into this knowing already how they felt about the movie and the way they were talking, I'm on my end just like biting on a knuckle, trying not to bust out laughing to ruin their introduction to the episode. I was so amused just at how ticked off they were at this movie. They were afraid they were going to hurt my feelings. I'm like, no, this is great. I mean, it's like, I've broken you guys. I was like, mission accomplished. My goal was to get on Cult Cinema Cavalcade and see if I could break the host, and I did that on my first go, so yay me. And we'll see if they ever invite me back. It may be a while. It's taken like 2 years for me to get on the show. It may be another 2 before they invite me back. And I've got more where that came from. Hopefully they don't get to any of my other choices on my
beforehand.
list. Yeah. So, including another Tim Curry movie. So. But yeah, so that's in the feeds. You can get that pretty much wherever you get your podcasts, iTunes, Google Play, all that fun stuff. So, and then for anyone that I guess has not seen our Facebook page, but our giveaway that we announced a couple weeks ago did end. So thank you to everyone who entered. We ended up with 110 entries. Yes. So there was, and a lot of people took advantage of the multiple entry options. So, because the back end of it, I can see, everybody's entry and what all they chose, and a lot of people did beyond just the please enter me, entry. People tweeted, they liked our Facebook page, they followed us on Twitter, that sort of thing. So obviously the more entries you had, the better odds you were to potentially win. But we did draw our 3 winners. So we want to give a congratulations to Sabrina, April, and Tom for being our 3 winners. So,
Yay!
And they have all been emailed, and they have emailed me back with their shipping information. So they are confirmed winners. So I will get your stuff out to you as soon as I find boxes that will fit your prize. I'm pretty sure I got stuff sitting around here. I just need to dig it out.
Congratulations, one and all.
Yes.
Yeah, and thanks everyone for entering.
Yeah. Thank you for everyone who entered. It started out a bit slow, but you had a lot of time when the contest started, so I figured we'd pick up after a while, and we made sure to remind people, and it definitely kind of exploded there at the end.
Thanks again to USAopoly for...
Yes. Yeah, we cannot say thank you enough to USAopoly for sponsoring this giveaway and providing the prizes, and hopefully our winners enjoy their new games, and please let us know what you think of them.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's crazy to think that we're at 200 episodes. So, it's sometimes if you listen to the Cult Cinema Cavalcade episode, when they have me talk a little bit about our podcast and how I know Brandon and Cullen and all that, and the fact that we've been podcasting for over 4 years, and I think I said on there is like, by the time you guys release this episode, we'll be getting ready to release our 200th episode, and it's like somehow we've managed to find 200 episodes worth of stuff to talk about. It helps being multi-fandom, I think, although even if we were Doctor Who specific, I mean, although you guys over at Traveling the Vortex do a really good job of finding content even when Doctor Who's not on, but definitely the expanded media definitely helps. But even us with our multiple fandoms, sometimes we struggle with what to talk about. It's like, do we talk about something new? Do we talk about something old? It's like,
well, and I think a lot of it is we're all kind of in contact with each other. We're all friends, and we all kind of were like, hey, I found this new thing. Let me introduce it to you. Should we talk about it on the podcast? What do you think? And that's kind of how we, for example, Once Upon a Time, we talked about that, and because it was like, do we, who's watched this show? Let's talk about it. And, and then we followed it up to the end, and now we're... And
with the librarians
and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., although that one was, it's Marvel, so that one's kind of a special one. But yeah, a lot of this stuff is like, hey, this is happening, let's talk about it. Mm-hmm. And that's really all it comes down to when we're finding content. And then we get creative with, let's pull names out of a hat, or, our currently. I really love our currently thing, because especially lately, I've been reading a lot. Getting back, working at the library again, I feel like I need to, keep on top of what's, kind of new and what people are reading. Plus, find out some older stuff too. So, I get to talk about that when we have our "What Are You Currently Doing" episodes. So that one's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh. But it's just, it's been a ride.
Yes.
Getting to this point, when we started this so long ago, 200 episodes ago, 4 years and some odd months ago, that I was totally down for doing this as long as everyone else was willing to do it, and the fact that we've gotten this far, and we've only lost one of us, which I know we've not really addressed, but I know I've had people, question me, that I'm friends with that actually listen. I'll get messages from them and say, what happened to Mitch and that sort of thing, and part of it is, we're not going to air any private thing, but it's just one of those things that life happens. She has had to go her way. We still keep in touch sometimes. She pops up every now and then, but she felt like she needed to life was taking her another direction. But as a founding member of this podcast, she's always going to be part of the foundation of this and the framework. And, she was an important part of it, and she's always welcome to come back whenever, life allows her to, when she feels like she's in a place where she can come back. So,
for sure.
Yeah. But, obviously we've continued on. We're kind of permanently-ish, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and that was, I mean, when we were thinking of, well, what should we call ourselves, and the 50th anniversary had just happened, and I just kind of thought like, oh, that's kind of cheeky, doing the 5-ish fangirls, because in the 5-ish doctors, the doctors were all there, but they also weren't. Like Paul McGann was there, filming permitting.
Yeah.
And Tom was somewhere, filming, actually being in the 50th anniversary special. So it was just Peter, Colin, and Sylvester for most of it, and it worked.
Yeah.
So we're 4, but we're also 5-ish.
Yeah. Yeah. So, which is why our name is what it is, because it's a twofold inside joke, I guess. So, gives a nod to Doctor Who, which is what brought us all together. Again, thank you, Shaun, Keith, and Glenn for that. So, you guys, and it's not really just your podcast, although obviously that's how we found you in the first place, as we were all coming into the Doctor Who fandom and discovered, hey, there's these things called podcasts, and stumbled across Travel in the Vortex, but really it was you guys with the podcast, but then not just releasing the podcast, but also being active on social media. If it hadn't been for your guys' social media presence, it would have been way less likely that we would have found each other. So, which just goes to show just how important social media is, I think, for podcasting as a whole. not just for promoting your podcast, but to generate that community around people that have an interest in whatever it is your podcast is about. So
it's been a lot of fun.
It has been a lot of fun.
It's been a lot of fun, and it's been, obviously, this I don't know, this sounds weird. I count you guys among, closest friends of mine, even though I've only ever met one of you.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm waving. And I've met Brittany. She made the trek out for my wedding, which I was totally not expecting.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like sometimes I think, with all the negativity and crap going on social media, and sometimes it really just drags me down to be on Facebook and things, because everybody is, at each other's throats for one reason or another. And I'm less like, there are times when I'm like, I just want to delete my Facebook page and never get back on. And there are two reasons that I have not. Well, maybe three, but two main ones. One is I live far away from my family, and I post pictures of my son so that they can see him and see him growing and things. The other one is I have my podcast friends that I'm like, I want to keep in contact with you guys, and, I'll take the good with the bad, or the bad with the good, I guess. I don't know, however you want to say that, but it's and sometimes I think, I've got a podcast tonight. Do I have time? I've got all these other things I want to do. And I do have to throw a shout out to my husband for, always being like, here, I'll take the baby and you go do that, because he knows it's important to me that I have this time. I love my son, wouldn't trade him for anything in the world. Sometimes I just need some me time away from being mommy for a couple hours. And this is kind of my return to sanity for a little bit. And so that I value it for sure.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, I'm in the same boat, sometimes with social media. Just, I've had to curate my Facebook friends list and my feed to try to eliminate as much crap as possible. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And still keep...
Yeah, I'm not even on Twitter that much anymore.
And still try and keep in touch with friends and family who aren't local. I don't... Other than my mom, my dad, and my brother, I do not have any family close to me, geographically. Everybody is so spread out. And that includes, the family I married into. They're at the least an hour and a half away is the closest of Chauncey's family that we have close to us. So, and then it's 3 hours plus to get to anybody else. So Facebook allows us to post pictures of, vacations and that sort of thing, and allows them to post pictures. I keep up with my nieces and nephew and stuff because we're so spread out. And then with all the crap, it gets all depressing. But then a movie trailer drops for something like Mary Poppins Returns, and I'm like, this is why I stay on the internet. Because of good stuff like this, and there's always good stuff to look forward to. It's some people may think that's a negative, you've got your horse blinders on, you're not paying attention to the real world. But you know what? Screw the real world sometimes. Sometimes I just want to watch cat videos, and there's not anything you can do about it. So
exactly. Sometimes I think being informed isn't so much a virtue anymore.
Yeah.
But then Mary Poppins trailers drop, and I'm like, okay, the world is all right.
Yeah. Doctor Who comes back in 3 weeks. Yay!
Yep.
It's like, yay!
So it's one of those things. It's like we're trying. We recognize that there is strife in the world. There are people who are having a hard time. and there's plenty of negative you can find. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are, what your beliefs or whatever are. But then there's also the good things, and that was one thing when I went to FanX, and I just felt like, we're all here for basically the same thing. Yeah, the lines are long. Yeah, it's hot. Yeah, the food's so overpriced and not that great. But we find going down Artist Alley, I found cool art that made me happy. That there were cosplays that I saw that were just like, these are amazing, and I would tell people, I don't know how many times I said that costume is amazing because I just admire the work and effort they put into it, and they're like, oh, hey, this was worth it. This was the work I did into this. Somebody noticed it, and they someone loved it. Like, that's like, darn right they did. And I kind of feel that way about the podcast. When I see people liking our page or when we get comments and stuff, I'm like, oh, wow, we're not just sitting around BSing for a few hours every Monday night. Not that I don't enjoy that.
But, yeah.
We do it anyway, probably. But
we have done it.
Yeah, we have done it.
Before we started recording.
That's the whole reason we got started in the first place, is because we get on and BS for 4 hours.
But this other people find entertainment value in that, and I'm like, you know what? That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that I have it. There are things I've accomplished. There are things I'm proud of. There are things I'm not so proud of. This podcast is one of those things I am quite proud of.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, me too. Absolutely. I mean, it's just, I went to, college, and way back in the day when I first started college, I thought I was going to be a lawyer, and very quickly found out that it's boring as hell and is not anything like Law and Order on the TV. Way more dull than that. And I'm like, well, this isn't for me. So I needed to get out quick before I wasted a bunch of time and tuition on something that was not going to be for me. So I took my happy butt over to the career center, whatever they called themselves at the time, and I was like, I don't like my major, I need to switch. And they're like, well, what do you want to switch to? I'm like, I don't know. So they had me take like one of those aptitude, like personality type tests to see which program fits best with your interest and your personality and stuff, and it came back informatics media arts, which was a fairly new program actually at the time, and I was like, well, that could be interesting. I'd taken a media type class in high school where they taught us like some basic recording and green screen and that sort of thing. And I'd done drama and stuff too. So I was like, sure, why not? So we went through the process of having me switch majors and that sort of thing, got into that program, and definitely was one of the best decisions I ever made. As far as that's concerned, it was essentially, it was setting me up for doing, I specialized in video and audio, and that's come very handy. At the time, I didn't know.
I can imagine.
At the time, I even once I was in the program, and I'd have classes or like, what do you expect to do with your major once you graduate? And I was like, I'll get into marketing for NASCAR, for the NFL or something, or do something I thought sports related, doing media production or something. And then I graduated with my bachelor's and couldn't find a job to save my life. And at that point, Chauncey and I were together and got married, and he decided to go to grad school, and I was like, well, heck, I'll go to grad school too. I might as well get some more education while I'm looking to get a job. And as expensive as that was, I do not regret going to grad school at all, because once I got in the grad school program, I realized how much I did not know still. So that was a good thing. And then when I graduated with my master's degree, and then I still couldn't find a job job. Took me another year and some change before I finally got a job where I am now. But in that same time, I discovered this thing called Doctor Who, and it snowballed from there. So, it's like I've been listening to pretty much. I knew what podcasts were, but at that point, I was only listening to Lou. For the most part, but then I discovered Doctor Who, and I was like, "Oh, I wonder if there's any Doctor Who podcast." She said ignorantly.
I know. I said the same thing. I was like,
right. Yep.
Yeah, and so I get into the Apple Podcast app and type in Doctor Who, and I think at the time there weren't a whole lot. There's maybe half a dozen, and I think Traveling the Vortex came up near the top, and I just read the description, and I was like, 3 guys, one of them's new, and I'm like, well, I'm new, so I'll listen to this, because then I could be new like this one guy, and here we are now. So
yeah, that's about where I was too.
Yeah, but I had no idea that coming out of college and stumbling across this little sci-fi show that I had no idea the provenance behind it and the history behind it would spiral into making friends like you guys and Keith, Shaun, and Glenn, and becoming this podcast, and that's snowballed into all sorts of opportunities and things that I did not know were possible. I did not know that eventually I would be tabling at conventions and interviewing celebrities and that sort of thing. And it's been a wild ride, and gosh darn it, we still all need to meet. 200 episodes, and that's still a goal that has not yet become accomplished.
Ladies, I'm going to jump in here real quick for a moment, because since we have moved at least temporarily to Mondays, I actually am going to have to bail out so that I can go to my podcast.
Oh, yes.
But I wanted to say to you collectively as a group, Chrissy mentioned, that this is something she's very proud of, and you should be. You all should be very proud of this podcast. Not only is it fun to listen to, not only is it entertaining, not only is it imbued with a sense of joy that you guys bring to the table in talking about whatever various topics are up for the week, you've made it to 200. And that is something to be celebrated. The corners of the internet are awash with podcasts that made it 30 episodes before their people got tired of doing it and just kind of gave up, or life got in the way, and they're not active anymore. And there's no shame in that. But the fact that you've persevered, the fact that you've continued on, the fact that your friendship has become important enough for you to find that opportunity to get together every week and record just so that you can talk to your friends, that's worthwhile. That's something to be proud of. And I know, we on our end, we consider ourselves very, very lucky to know you. And I feel very safe in speaking for the other guys in that. And I feel very weirdly fortunate that we had some small hand in instigating your origin. It's complete happenstance. And sometimes the universe throws you a curveball and you get lucky and hit it. And I think in this case, you guys were probably destined to find each other. That sounds really heavy-handed, but it's I think it's true. There's a mesh that fits so well with your group. And, I cannot be more pleased or proud of you. And 200 is a big deal.
Oh, you make me blush.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shaun.
Shaun, I wish we were in the same room. I'd give you a big hug.
Yeah.
I would have said the
Virtual hugs.
Yes.
All right, ladies, enjoy the rest of your evening and your talk. I am going to bow out so that I can go meet up with Glenn and Keith.
Yeah.
Okay, well, tell them we said hi.
Hi.
I
Thank
certainly
you for
will.
coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Happy 200.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. I do, like, Shaun was giving us his parting words and, making us feel a little misty. He said something about, happenstance, sometimes the universe throws you a curveball and it hits. And, honestly, as Rachel, as you were talking about, finding Doctor Who and, you couldn't find a job and all these different things were going on. And it's just funny how, you make plans and you think, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But your life is made, this is something I've heartily, believe, just from my own experience in different things, is, your life is made in those little moments that you weren't expecting, that things just happen. I found Doctor Who because I was bored and I couldn't find, I didn't have a show to watch. I couldn't find a job and I was kind of in the middle of grad school and I was just really like down on myself. And I was like, well, this show it's something to watch. Let's see what it's about. And, it just sort of, everything's just sort of snowballed from there and here we are. And so it's like, I guess if we're going to, get deep and philosophical here, it's like, don't discount those small moments that happen that, your entire life could be made up from that. Or, you might end up on a podcast that is celebrating 200 episodes eventually. I mean, we're making it sound like it's life changing, and maybe it is in a way, but it's also it's big things come from small moments, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and we're 200 episodes in, and don't really have any plans of stopping anytime soon. I mean,
No.
Doctor Who's going to come back. There's more Marvel movies. There's more Pixar movies. There's more Star Wars. Who knows the next TV show or movie franchise that is right around the corner that may become something that's like, oh my goodness, the next Librarians may be waiting out there in the wings, and we don't know it yet.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, like Jared and I have been watching all kinds of anime. I don't know how much anime you ladies ever watch, or if you ever have.
I'm not allowed
I don't
to,
know. I feel like
according
maybe
to
there's
Chauncey.
a topic there.
Chauncey says I'm not allowed to watch anime. He said that's a rabbit.
Okay.
He said that's a rabbit hole I'm not allowed to go down.
Yeah, it's kind of
It is a rabbit hole. I will agree there. Like we've gone to Anime Bonsai, which is an anime convention that's local here, and we'll go to the panels where they talk about the new stuff, and you look at it and you're like, I want to watch all of it. Then you get home and start cataloging. You're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And then you see the dreaded. If you like this, then you're going to enjoy this.
And then it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But I will say this: we've been watching a show called My Hero Academia. It's like high school for superheroes is more or less the premise. And Alex loves it. Like he will sit, like when the theme song comes on, he'll start bouncing and start dancing to it. He loves the music and he loves the characters, and I'm just like, oh man, kid, like when he becomes a teenager, if he ever gets that rebellious stage, the way he'll rebel is like, I don't like all your geeky stuff anymore, Mom, and I'm like, nah, you'll get back to it.
Yeah.
I know how this works. But for now, he's a toddler and he loves it.
Yeah.
Yeah, anime can be dangerous.
It can.
My roommate and I, at one point, all we did was go to classes, watch anime, repeat. Maybe eat and sleep somewhere in there, but
Finish a few assignments.
yeah.
Yeah. If it was like due tomorrow, I guess I better do that. But you were working on it while you were watching anime.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, Brittany, you gotta finish this essay. I will, but Ash has gotta catch this Pokemon.
I gotta see Team Rocket blast off again.
Yeah.
It's just funny because I've been mainlining Pokemon these last few weeks. Luckily, I don't have any essays due.
That's good.
That's the great thing about not being in school anymore. It's like I don't have to do homework, so I can come home and watch stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like now we watch stuff. It is our homework for the podcast.
Yes. It's
like a movie comes out. I'm like, I gotta go see this right now. I got to see it right away for the
it's
podcast.
podcast homework. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, well, I had a train of thought, and now I've lost it. Dang it. I'm tired. I'm going to blame it on jet lag, even though I've been home I've been home for almost a week. I'm still jet lagged. I'm gonna play that card for as long as possible.
So you need a vacation from the vacation.
Yeah. Pretty much. So it was a good time though. I have no complaints. So I've got tons of video and from my vacation, so which I will I'm slowly starting to edit into something that makes quasi sense. So once that's done, I'll make sure to share it on our social media, so if anyone wants to see all the fun I had in Alaska, that'll be slowly be put on the YouTubes eventually. So it's a lot of video. It's a lot of video. So it was fun though. So and of course we can't. I guess maybe to just kind of finish up here is to say a big thank you to everyone that's listened and followed us on social media and comments on our posts and shares our things, and like we said, we would probably do this anyway, but the fact that people are actively involved in
feedback and
sending in feedback
support.
And being an active member of the our group, our little bubble here, definitely makes it easier to make sure that we do this every week. So
yep.
It's
So thank you everyone for supporting us and participating, and also extends to our Patreon and Amazon and our shop and all that great stuff. So it's y'all are great, and here's to 200 more at least.
Yes.
Yes.
We've got a new season of Doctor Who coming up, so
Yep.
Bring it on.
Yeah, we'll see how the blank slate works. I mean, everything's a blank slate. Like Murray Gold isn't even around anymore.
Yeah.
They got a new composer, so
this will be, at least for me, it'll be interesting because I was not part of the fandom the last time they didn't blank slate as much as this, but the last time they kind of blank slated, so
yeah.
So it'll be interesting. It looks like it's gonna be fun though.
Yeah. It'll be an adventure.
Yeah.
More so than usual.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
Yeah. So thanks everybody, and remember our website, 5ishfangirls.com, and there's all of our links to everything there, and see you in all of our fandoms.
Yeah, so all right. Well, with that, I guess we shall sign off for this week.
This is Brittany and Bethlehem saying goodnight.
This is Chrissy saying goodnight from Salt Lake City.
This is Sally from Wisconsin saying good evening.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana, saying good night and thank you very much for listening. Hope you stick around. listening to the 5ish Fangirls podcast. You can find more episodes and information at the5ishfangirls.com. Any and all books, movies, games, and other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied. If you'd like to support the show, the best and easiest way is to leave us a rating and review on iTunes. More ratings and reviews will make it easier for others to find the show. If you wish to support us monetarily, you can do so at Patreon at patreon.com/5ishfangirlspodcast. All money goes towards fees and equipment to help keep the show going. For official 5ish Fangirls merchandise, visit mymerch.us. We love hearing from our listeners and encourage feedback. You can email us at 5ishfangirls@gmail.com. You can also like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/5ishfangirls. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you all on the next episode.